Hello and welcome to Hixxy Studio. Today we are going to be looking at how to make a rocker card. We're going to be making this rocker card. Does this, that's why it's called a rocker card. And we will be using these craft eyes by Lisa Horton from Creative Expression. It's called Slice Circles. And they look like this. I'll show you how to use those in a moment. You will need, in addition, in order to make the rocker base and this circle, you will need 2 more circle dies. Now, most of us do have sets of circle dies, but I know also that there are some on the website, so please have a look. This largest one from the set is 10.4 centimeters, so you need 2 circles that are larger than 10.4 centimeters. Okay, so let's see what we're going to do then. So that's for there. Here are my 2 circle dies. I've used this one, and that's cut my base. And in a moment, we'll score that in half, and that creates our little rocker here. And then this one we will use shortly to cut out the decorative background here. But we're going to have to create that in a moment. Okay. Then this one that you can see here is the one that comes with the set, and then these ones create our little piece here. Okay, so we are going to start by just folding this in half. Now, sometimes when you cut circle dies, they are of sort of a weird size. I'm never sure where the halfway line is, so I tend to place it flat onto my scoring board and then kind of work out where the edge comes to. So that's 5 and 5 1/4. So, oh goodness, maths. 2 3/4, does that sound about right? It does, but when I look at it, it doesn't look quite right. So I'm actually going to come back to that one and we'll go down there. There we go. So we've now got our base in half, and we will burnish that with our paper creaser or bone folder. And that looks pretty good. So that's going to create our little rocker. So we'll put that to one side for the moment. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our background. Now I've chosen some quite bright colours because I thought this works pretty well for a mail card. So what I've chosen to use are 2 Distress Oxides, Blueprint Sketch, which is one of the newer ones, and Rusty Hinge, which has been around for quite a while. Now, the thing with blending 2 colours like these, they are not anywhere near each other. They're not colours that blend particularly well. So you're not going to get them to go together. Your aim isn't to kind of seamlessly blend them because you'll just end up with mud. So what we want is sort of like splodges of colour. So what I've got is a piece of A5 piece of white stamping card, and we're just going to use, I like to use these blending brushes to create our little piece. So it doesn't really matter where you start or how you start, just need to go on. And I'm not really too worried about coming in off the edge because you're not going to be able to seamlessly blend that. So I'm just going to have a bit of the Rusty Hinge, and you can see this is a nice bright orange. Oh, looks like I've managed to put my fingers in the Blueprint Sketch already, and it's colouring my card. And the thing with oxides, they sit on the card. I don't know if it's quite hard to tell. There's still some dampness there, and so actually you can go back and add more and move them. But like I say, what we're not aiming to get a seamless blend because these colours are too far apart on the colour wheel. So if you have a look, if I start adding this Blueprint Sketch in here, you can see what happens when I go over. You get this kind of browny, muddy colour. So although that's okay, we don't want to completely blend these two colours. We get a little bit of that sort of tone in there. And I know I'm going to end up with ink on my fingers shortly. That's the way it goes. I know some people, they'll get a piece of scrap paper. I always forget. I think you don't get your fingerprints, but again, you can see here. So I might just go back in with the oxide, the rusty hinge, just to smooth that one a little bit out a bit. And I think on this one, I think I've done a lot bigger blocks of colour than I've done on the other card, but that's okay. Let's have some blue up here. I mean, this die, this card, these backgrounds, you can make them what you want. They can be pastely and pretty, bright and primary, suitable for children, suitable for adults. And like I say, the reason I went with this is because it's kind of works for a masculine card. Again, getting that little overlap where it starts to get a bit muddy. Don't go too far into it. We are die cutting this, and it is going to partly disappear behind. As you can see on here, you only get to see bits of it, so don't worry too much. You see already, look, and my fingerprints on here, and that's why it is always a good idea, if you can remember, to have that little bit of scrap, a little bit of card or paper just to put under your fingers so that you don't end up doing what I'm doing, which is literally putting my fingerprints everywhere. Now I am going to go back in, just blend it out a little bit, give it a little bit more. Okay, and then if you want to use this straight away, which we do, I have got one ready, but we can use this one as well. You do need to give it a little bit of a blast with your heat gun, because the ink does sit on the top of the card, which is what allows it to blend. It does take a little while to completely dry. So I am just going to give it a little blast with my heat gun. Okay. And once I've done that, I am actually going to clean my mat. Otherwise, I'm going to end up transferring the ink, not just from my fingers, but from my mat onto everything else. Okay, that a bit of a blast, and that just, I can see a little bit here where I put on the rusty hinge quite heavily. Okay, so let's give ourselves a little bit of a clean up. So I'm just going to, you can see on my mat all the bits from the edges. I'm just going to give that a bit of a spray with water, because of course oxides are reactive to water. And then I'm going to grab a piece of rice paper. At some point I'll show you what I do with all these bits of rice paper. I do this every week, and I do have a lot of them. We get to do some mixed media stuff, then we'll bring them back out again. So there we go. So that's not much there, but you can see a few little bits of blue, and that'll be added to another point. Okay, so we now have a nice clean mat. So from this, there are several things we need to cut. We need to cut our next circle, bigger than the one from the set, but smaller than the one that we made our base with. So I'm going to kind of try and work out where I'd like this, and I think, where should we go? I think we'll go there. We'll go there, and I need my low tack tape to fix that on, and I'm going to tape that there, because I'm also then going to cut out the semicircle that the happy birthday will fit in. And again, this is a case of placing it where you want. And again, these little ones, I nearly did it then. These little very thin dies, just be careful, make sure that you are putting the cutting line face down. So I'm going to put that there and tape that. Now, looking at what I've done, I now think I've put probably too much orange. But here, if I was to put one of the little quarter circle dies, I'm pretty much getting all orange. So I have got a bit that I did previously. And the other thing I did here was to sprinkle a bit of water, but I haven't done on that. Not too much of a problem. So what I want to do is to place these where I'm going to get a little bit more interesting colour. So I'm going to put that one there. And I think we'll go with that one there. And just fit those, fix those down with a bit of low-tack tape. Okay. Right, so machine is on. And we need our yeah, get it right. We need our cutting plates. And I'm going to, in fact, what I'm going to do to save space, I'm going to just chop that bit down so that we are not taking up too much space on our cutting plate, because we also need, we also need to have this one in there. Okay, so we're going to put those there. We're going to put our plastic shim and our magnetic and our top plate, and we are going to feed it through our Gemini. Okay. Now, that will cut all of our mounts. I have already used this one from the Creative Expression set to cut just the circle, which is this one here, which I am going to just edge with the ink in a moment. So that's one of our layers. Let's move that die out the way. That one back so I don't lose it. Okay. Oh, falling out. Oh, now that's the other thing to be wary of, because this one was fairly newly inked. And if you can see, I've got ink now on my plate, so I must remember to clean that before I do any more die cutting. In fact, I'll do it now because I know we're going to need to die cut some white card in a moment. And the last thing we need is for that, you can see as I'm spraying it, you can see the ink beading. The last thing we need is for that to get onto white card. That really wouldn't be helpful. Now I am also, because this is going to be cutting, I am also going to dry that with a piece of kitchen towel just to make sure we don't get any excess moisture into the card when we cut it. Okay, so let's put that to one side for the moment. Okay, so we have our large mat. You can see my lovely inky fingers, but luckily that's going to be covered. And I don't know if you can catch that. I've obviously been die cutting pixie sparkles on this one. You can see all the lovely little glitter. But hey ho, it is what it is. I think I have pixie sparkles in pretty much everything. So we also have our half circle cut and our 2 quarter circles cut. Okay. That's just the tape that's got caught on. Oh, come on, tape, what are you doing? There we go. There we go. So there's our other bits. You're there. In fact, I might put them like that, quite like that. So let's just move those out of the way. We don't need those for the moment. Oh, I do need the half one. I do need the half one. I do need these 2 quarter circles. Oh, there we go, that one and that one. Away. Okay, so we now have most of the bits. The bits we don't have are these white bits here, which we are now going to cut. And you don't actually need too much stamping card. So I just use plain white stamping card. You need these, again, almost putting that down the wrong way. And down, face down. Doesn't really matter what angle you put these, because it's plain white card. It's not an issue. Then we need these 3 inner parts. Okay, so this part is going to cut inside the half circle. We've got the balloons to cut inside one of the quarter circles, and then we've got the candles to cut inside the other. And because you're cutting, you've got literally 2 dies here, you really don't want those to move. So let's get some tape. And you can see that one's wiggled already. Doesn't take much. One in place. And this one in place. And that one in place. Right, so cutting plate and plastic shim and magnetic shim and top plate, and off we go through our Gemini. And once those are cut, all the pieces for the card are ready, and it's just a case of assembling. Okay, so let's move oh, nothing important though. Okay, right, so here we go. Plates away, and you can see just from looking at the back that these are cut really well, no issues. Peel them off. Tape. That tape. Rid of that. And then we can, oh, it's already falling out. Don't know about you, I always tend to keep my little bits of low tack tape to reuse them. So there you go, that's that one. I'll clean that die in a moment. Need to see me cleaning dies. And oh, that one's come away. Oh, just it's falling out without any prompting from me, which is brilliant. And then the last one is our candles, and there we go, another one that's just popped itself out. Okay, so we need some glue, and let's see if I've actually got a working glue first time around today. Let me get a little bit of that'll be a no. Oh no, I tell a lie. There we go. Just didn't want to wake up straight away. So I'm going to grab a piece of scrap out of the bin. In fact, no, let me grab a piece of scrap here. In fact, no, I don't have any scrap. How can I have no scrap paper? Bear with me 2 secs. I just want something that I am going to, in fact, that I'm going to be able to dab. In fact, that bit that I threw away just now. I just want to be able to dab these onto something, take off some of the glue, because when you put glue on these, these little fine things, quite often you end up with too much and then it squishes out. So again, I'm not putting it everywhere, just enough where I think, we need to make sure that it is making contact. So here, and so then I'm just using this bit here just to kind of almost blot off the excess there, and then I am going to fit this over the top of a half circle. Okay, so that's that bit, and we'll put that aside. And then the same with our candle. And this die, in all honesty, you don't actually need to use all 3 parts. You could just use this part as a sentiment on a different kind of card, as a very different and unique kind of sentiment. And these little quarter squares would also look nice, perhaps on their own on a smaller card. So don't always think that you have to use a die set in its entirety, because you can quite often use bits for other things. So let's just lock that off, and that way around. Yeah, let's go that way around, and we're going to stick that on and line it up. Okay, so those are our 3 bits for the top. Now, the one bit I remembered now I haven't finished is I'm going to get my blueprint sketch back, and I'm going to just, and I am, just for the sake of not having to clean my board again before I try assembling, I'm just going to put this on a bit of tissue paper. Helps if it's blueprint sketch, doesn't it? Not rusty ink, because that wouldn't be right. Let's get that one out. Okay. And all I really want to do is to edge this card. I don't need to colour the whole lot. It's only the edge that's going to be shown. So literally, this is one of the reasons I like the brushes as well. I don't know if you can see, you get this really nice little feathering around the edge. You don't have to go mad on it. And that's because of the little bristles. You get that lovely little sort of feathering effect. Now, this is a bit of a waste of ink on my little tissue there, but actually it saved me cleaning my board again. So let's put that to one side. Okay, so right, so our next job is to put this onto here. Now, sometimes when you're doing easels and rockers, it's like, oh, where do I put the glue to? I tend to decide which way up. I'm going to put that on to C, and I might actually have the blue more there because I've got more orange that side, and then turn it over, and with a pencil, just very lightly, oops, actually helps if you have a pencil lead there, doesn't it? Otherwise it's extremely lightly and you can't see it at all. Let's try that again. Okay, so roughly place where I want it, turn it over, a very little light mark there, and now I can see that I only need to glue in that part. So get my glue again, and I'm going to put my glue onto this bit here, not going above that little line, and then I'm going to roughly put it there, turn it over, and then fiddle. There we go. Now, when I did the sample, and now I'm doing the demo, you will get this. This is just me being mucky. This bit is hard to avoid because you've done a lot of inking. If you really don't like that, you could stick that onto another piece of plain white card, and then you don't get that issue on the back. It's just that I've been quite mucky in the way I've been doing it. So this then needs to go on the middle. And like that. Make sure this is rocking. Yeah, that's looking good. And then these pieces I am going to raise with 3D glue gel, just to make. Now, you can see it already. I reckon a bit of a boo-boo there because look, I can just see the lines on my mat through. And if I line the top of that up, can you see I have not got my happy birthday lined up? So if you do have a craft mat, it's always useful. They're not just great for being able to cut on, but they do help you when you are trying to line things up and keep them straight. Okay, so that's more like what we want. So I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to get my glue gel and pray it's working. We'll see. Let's pull that little end out. Yay! Working first time. Everything's working first time today. That's good. So I am going to put some glue gel onto here. And okay, watching my lines. That's my eye. Lining that up. Don't worry too much if it's not exact, because it rocks anyway, so it's going to kind of move. But at least it's better than the way I had it just now. Okay, so here we go. This one, yeah, and my finger under that and lift that up. And then our last little piece here. There we go. And there is our rocker card. There you go. Excellent. So remember, you can, I've done it in very sort of bright colours for a mail card, but you could make this however you want. Pretty pastel, bright, blingy, glittery. It's a really, really versatile die, and I hope if you get hold of it that you'll love using it. Thank you.